The lobby was quiet, polished, almost too perfect. You could hear the soft hum of recessed lights above, the gentle clicking of heels on marble floors, and the faint tapping of a keyboard from behind the front desk. And then, a voice cut through the calm like a blade. "Excuse me, sir. This area is for clients only. Please wait outside." Derek froze for a second, confused. He looked around. Was she talking to someone else? She wasn't. The receptionist, a middle-aged woman with a perfectly pressed blazer and a gold name tag, was staring directly at him. Not smiling. Not polite. Just cold. Sharp. Dismissive. He had just walked through the front doors of his own company. But she didn't know that. What she saw was a black man in a perfectly tailored suit, standing alone in the reception area of a multi-million-dollar firm. What she assumed was something very different. And that assumption? It was about to cost her everything. Before we get into how Derek flipped this entire situation, and the unbelievable twist that had the whole office speechless, make sure to subscribe to this channel for more real-life stories where justice hits hard, and karma shows up right on time. You won't want to miss the ending of this one. Derek James wasn't just a man in a suit. He was a visionary tech entrepreneur, a self-made millionaire who had built one of the fastest-growing AI startups in the country. The company had just acquired a smaller firm in the same city, and this was his first unannounced visit to the new office. No entourage. No press. Just him and a quiet mission, to meet the team, feel the energy, and decide who stayed, and who didn't. But before he could even say hello to anyone, he was already being told to wait outside. Derek raised his hands slightly, palms open, peaceful. Confused. "I'm here for a meeting," he said calmly. The receptionist stepped around the desk, her heels clicking faster now. "A meeting with who, exactly?" she asked, already pulling out her clipboard. Her tone was thick with sarcasm, as if daring him to name someone, anyone, who would vouch for his presence. "I'm Derek James," he said simply. She blinked. Then scoffed. "No, you're not." He smiled, not because it was funny. But because this wasn't the first time. Not even the 100th. "Sir," she continued, her voice now rising enough for nearby employees to hear, "I'm going to have to ask you to leave. Or I'll call security." Derek didn't argue. He didn't beg. He didn't raise his voice. He just took out his phone, opened an app, and tapped a button. Within seconds, the glass doors behind him opened, and a man in a navy suit walked in, head of corporate operations. His eyes went wide when he saw Derek. "Mr. James. We weren't expecting you until next week." Suddenly, the receptionist went pale. Derek turned slowly to face her. "You were saying something about calling security?" Her mouth opened. No words came out. And right there, right in that moment, everything shifted. But before we get to what happened next, let me ask you something real. Have you ever been judged before anyone even knew your name? Have you ever walked into a room and felt like you had to prove you belonged there, just because of how you looked, or where you came from? You're not alone. And if you've ever felt like the universe is against you, what if I told you there's a way to flip the script? There's a method, simple, but powerful, that helps thousands of people attract success, money, and respect faster than they ever thought possible. It's called the 369 Manifestation Code. Based on Tesla's breakthrough theories, it's unlocking abundance in people's lives within 24 hours of trying it. And the best part? You don't need luck. You just need to know how to align. Click the first pinned comment to discover the 3-digit code that could completely shift your energy, and your results, starting today. Now, back to the lobby. Derek watched as the receptionist stumbled over her words, now trying to mask her panic with fake professionalism. I didn't realize, I thought. But she didn't finish. Because the operations director had already turned to her and said, This is the founder of the company. The silence that followed? You could feel it in your chest. Suddenly, co-workers began to peek out from their cubicles. Whispers floated through the hall. Someone grabbed their phone and started texting. And Derek? He didn't say a word. He just walked past her, straight to the elevator. But he wasn't done. Not even close. The elevator doors closed behind Derek, and the silence inside mirrored the storm outside. Upstairs, the leadership team waited. Some of them had never met him in person. And down in the lobby, the receptionist stood frozen, realizing she had just humiliated the owner of the very building she worked in. But this story isn't just about public embarrassment. It's about what happens after someone shows you who they really are. When Derek stepped into the executive conference room, every conversation stopped. People stood up, nervously straightening their ties, adjusting their posture. A few offered shaky greetings, unsure how much he had heard, or seen. He smiled, greeted them all warmly, and said, "I'd like to start with a quick tour." But this tour wasn't just about meeting the team or checking on office culture. It was about seeing who led with respect, and who only showed it when they thought someone held power. As they walked through departments, shaking hands and exchanging smiles, Derek kept mental notes. Who acknowledged him genuinely? Who seemed confused or embarrassed? Who avoided eye contact altogether? And then he asked to go back to the lobby. The receptionist was still there, now visibly sweating, her posture stiff and forced. "Miss Reynolds," said the operations director, "this is Mr. Derek James. He owns the company." Her voice barely came out. I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't know." But Derek raised his hand slightly. "You don't need to explain. You already showed me everything I needed to know." The words hit like a hammer wrapped in velvet. Calm. Controlled. Unforgettable. She blinked rapidly, like trying to wake up from a nightmare. I've been under a lot of stress lately," she tried again, scrambling. But Derek didn't engage in excuses. He simply turned to the ops director and said, "Let's talk upstairs." Later that day, Miss Reynolds was removed from her position. Not because Derek wanted revenge, but because he demanded standards. In his own words, no one should be made to feel like they don't belong the moment they walk through our doors. But it didn't stop there. Derek called an all-hands meeting that same week. Not through Zoom. Not pre-recorded. In person. He stood in front of a crowded conference room, managers, interns, admins, engineers, all watching in silence. And this is what he said. This company was built by people who were told they didn't belong. People who were rejected, ignored, underestimated, until they became impossible to overlook. If you want to work here, you lead with respect first. Not titles. Not appearances. Respect. The room erupted in applause. And from that day forward, the culture of that company changed. People looked each other in the eyes. They greeted the janitor like they did the CFO. They made room, not assumptions. Because sometimes, it only takes one moment to expose a broken mindset, and one leader to fix it. And Derek? He didn't need revenge. He had something much stronger. Dignity. Vision. And the power to create real change. So the next time someone underestimates you, remember this. You don't need to raise your voice. You don't need to prove your worth. You just need to know who you are, and act like it. And if you've ever felt unseen, unappreciated, or stuck on the edge of where you're meant to be, maybe now is your time to step into it fully. And if you need a little help realigning your energy, check this out. Backhand index pointing right. The 369 manifestation code is helping thousands manifest success, money, confidence, and clarity in less than 24 hours. It's a simple 3-digit frequency formula based on the genius of Nikola Tesla, and it's already changing lives. You'll find the link in the first pinned comment. Finally, if this story hit you in the heart, or fired you up, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and drop a comment below. Has someone ever made you feel like you didn't belong? What did you do? We're reading every story. And remember, the world doesn't get to decide your value. You do.